This is a practical demonstration for the practical GM number 2 lecture of acute inflammation, chronic inflammation and healing. So the first picture that you need to look into is acute appendicitis, an example of acute inflammation. So this is an appendix. Okay, the most important features is the whole appendix appears enlarged, right, and swollen, right, and what you can see is the reddish color, or what we call as hyperemic color, and you can notice that it is actually due to dilated and congested blood vessels on the serosal surface. So you can label all those features of acute appendicitis. Second is acute pyelonephritis. In acute pyelonephritis, majority of the times it appears to have this yellowish collection at the cortex, and you can actually see these yellowish spots on the outer surface of the kidney. So basically, this is actually a feature of acute pyelonephritis. An example of chronic inflammation, this is chronic cholecystitis. The blood, this is a gallbladder, and you can see that the gallbladder is enlarged, and most importantly, because of this is a chronic inflammation and there's actually a recurring healing process, the whitish thing that you see there is actually fibrosis. So you can see the fibrosis that occurs in the wall make the wall become thicker, and sometimes you can see that the mucosa become hemorrhagic. So this is a feature of chronic inflammation. This is actually a feature of granulomatous inflammation. In lung, you can see there's actually areas like this yellowish collections that occurs not only here but in many parts of the lungs, and a closer view of it shows that this is actually composed of caseating necrosis. So why you can see it's a caseating necrosis, because it's actually yellowish in color. And next one is on lecture of healing. So this is actually to show you hypertrophic scar. So this is actually a scar of a cut in someone's hand, and you can see a normal scar would appears like this. Okay, it doesn't have any protrusion from the skin, and this is actually a bit of protrusion at the scar, and this is called hypertrophic scar. And this is another type of wound healing abnormalities called keloid. So basically there's a scar there, and what happens is it becomes like a growth on the scar, and this is called keloid, and the color is usually darker in color. Next, we go to the histology, and you can see that this is actually the first slide, virtual slide you need to look into is actually acute appendicitis. The first thing that you need to look for is actually mucosal ulceration. So basically, when you can see epithelium that actually does not have any epithelium lining anymore, this is what we call as mucosal ulceration, and this is due to the acute inflammation that occurs in this area, causing the part of the epithelial part of this area becomes necrosed and died. So, and you can actually see there's actually acute inflammatory cells there. And this is actually a closer view of what it looks like inside the appendix, and this is actually the muscularis layer of the appendix. You can see one most important thing is there is spaces that occurs in between the mucosal the muscularis layer, and this space is called edema of the interstitial space. And inside the interstitial space, you can see it is actually filled by this small cells. If you look closely, it is actually consists of multiple lobes, and this is basically neutrophil, right? And most importantly, where does the neutrophil comes from? It comes from these blood vessels. This is dilated, this is also dilated, and the most prominent one is this one. This is dilated blood vessels, and these neutrophils come from here and goes into the interstitium. This is actually another example of acute inflammation, where you can see in your virtual microscopy, the section is actually from a brain. So this is also a brain, okay. And most importantly, you can see there's a collection of neutrophils, and this collection of neutrophils is what we call as neutrophilic exudates. And when this occurs, when this collects here, you can see actually the whole tissue become dead in the middle or in between, and this is what we call as abscess. This is a feature of granulomatous inflammation. Most importantly, number one, you can see central caseating necrosis, right? Pinkish center material inside in the middle, and at the side you can see there's actually collection of sleeper-shaped cells. You can actually look closely into these sleeper-shaped cells called histiocytes or activated macrophages, and in between these histiocytes are all the chronic inflammatory cells, such as predominantly lymphocytes, okay, the single lobe cells. And one of the most peculiar thing about granulomatous inflammation is presence of these cells, which compose of histiocytes that collects together, and has a very distinct feature of arrangement of the nucleus, almost like half moon shape, and this is what we call as giant cells. And last one is on granulation tissue. All right, so don't confuse yourself with granulation tissue and granuloma. This is granulation tissue, part of the healing process. So basically, in healing process, because of it needs of a lot of nutrient, one of the most prominent features is there's a lot of new growth of blood vessels. So this is blood vessels, this is newly grown blood vessels, right? And these blood vessels grows in the presence of all these spindle shaped cells, and this is basically fibroblasts, right? And this fibroblasts, you can see produce this pinkish material, which is the collagen, all right? And most importantly, because this is usually occurs in chronic inflammation, as I show you in the gallbladder just now, you can see there's a lot of chronic inflammatory cells, predominantly lymphocytes. Okay, thank you.